Anderson Drew learned early how New York teaches you to hurry past need. She fought that lesson every night anyway. At Rose's Corner Diner, wedged between Times Square's glow and a shuttered bodega, she moved fast, refilling mugs, dodging elbows, counting tips like prayers. Rent was due. Again. Her sneakers squeaked on checkered tile as the lunch rush thinned into a grey drizzle outside. Jack Daniels slipped in quietly, hard hat tucked under his arm, jacket smelling of concrete and rain. He chose the last booth by the window and studied the menu like it might scold him. When Anderson reached him, he folded it closed. "Just coffee," he said, voice rough, eyes apologetic. She noticed the way his hands shook when she set the mug down. The way he stared at a BLT photo like it was a memory. "You sure?" she asked. He nodded, then looked away as if ashamed of his own hunger. Across the room, her manager barked about comps and margins. Anderson pretended not to hear. She slid back with a plate anyway, grilled cheese, cut neat, steam rising. "Kitchen mistake," she whispered. "Eat before it gets cold." Jack blinked. "I can't." "You can," she said, already turning away, heart pounding like she just crossed traffic against the light. Outside, sirens braided with laughter from tourists. Inside, Jack ate slowly, savoring warmth more than flavor. He watched Anderson work, how she smiled at a crying kid, how she pocketed coins like they mattered because they did. If you believe moments like this deserve to be remembered, quiet courage in loud cities, staying with this story is a way of standing beside her, choosing not to rush past need tonight. When Jack finished, he left the booth cleaner than he found it, a folded note beneath the cup. Anderson found it later, fingers trembling, not knowing that this was the first step toward a truth larger than the city skyline. The note wasn't money. It was an address in Lower Manhattan and 3 careful words: "Tomorrow. Noon. Please." Anderson almost didn't go. New York had taught her that promises dissolved faster than steam from cheap coffee. Still, curiosity tugged her onto the R train the next day, down past Fulton Street where the air smelled like metal and salt. The address led her to a construction site near Battery Park, steel skeleton rising against the Hudson, workers swarming like ants. She spotted Jack by the barricade, cleaner today, still ordinary. "I wanted to thank you," he said. "Properly." He handed her a hard hat. Her laugh came out nervous. "I don't do heights." He smiled, something gentle breaking through. They walked the site together, Jack explaining load-bearing beams, safety protocols, the way foundations held when storms came. He spoke with care, like the building mattered because people would one day live inside it. Anderson listened, surprised by how seen she felt. "I used to think kindness was weakness," Jack said, pausing at a window cutout framing the Statue of Liberty. "Then you fed me." A suited man approached, clipboard tight to his chest. "Mr. Daniels, the investors are waiting." Jack nodded, eyes apologetic. Anderson froze. "Investors?" She followed at a distance into a temporary office where screens glowed and names echoed, permits, timelines, budgets with more zeros than she'd ever imagined. Jack stood at the head of the table. Calm. Commanding. Billionaire wasn't a word anyone said, but it hung in the air like thunder. Later, outside, Anderson crossed her arms. "You didn't tell me. I wanted you to see me first," he said quietly. "Not the numbers." The city roared around them. Her pride wrestled her hope. Was the grilled cheese charity or destiny? What would you have done in her place, walk away to protect your dignity, or stay and risk believing? Let the question sit with you. Jack pulled out the folded note she'd found. "You didn't know who I was," he said. "You chose me anyway." If stories like this stir something in you, if you believe unseen choices shape lives, holding on to this journey is a way of honoring that belief, of choosing care over cynicism in a city that tests both. Anderson breathed in river air, heart thudding, knowing the next choice would change everything. Anderson didn't run. She sat with Jack on a low concrete wall as evening softened the city, ferries cutting slow white lines across the Hudson. "I don't want saving," she said. "I want choosing." Jack nodded, the skyline reflected in his eyes. "Then let me choose you, honestly." He didn't offer a check. He offered time. Weeks passed, walks through Central Park, late slices on Bleecker Street, laughter on the Brooklyn Bridge at midnight. Jack showed up hungry for conversation now, not food. Anderson showed up less afraid. Love, she learned, could be built like a foundation, measured, patient, strong. One night, he invited her back to Rose's corner. The same booth. The same flicker. He slid a small envelope across the table. Inside wasn't money, but a lease. Rose's corner, renewed and renovated, with Anderson named partner. Kindness should compound, Jack said. Tears came without permission. She reached for his hand, grease and all. "Stay," she whispered. He did. If this moment matters to you, the idea that decency can echo back brighter, staying close to stories like this is a quiet way of saying the world you want still exists. Months later, Anderson unlocked the diner at dawn, new paint smelling like hope. Jack poured coffee, clumsy but trying. Outside, New York surged awake. Inside, two people chose each other, again. The city hadn't changed. They had. Love arrived quietly, stayed bravely, and turned a simple diner into a lifelong home together for them both always. Hope you learned something valuable from today's story. Stay tuned as we bring more interesting tales your way. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when we post. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your support means a lot.